3, 2, 1.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Boom.
That's what it is.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's what it is.
Boom.
Yeah.
Fantasy Jesus.
Boom.
I'm here to save your fantasy roster.
Boom.
Fantasy Jesus. Well, it worked for The Rock and it's going to work for me.
Yeah.
Boom.
TSS Fantasy.
Boom.
Yeah. TSS Fantasy.
Boom.
And you just got flandered.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
And you just got flandered.
That's what it is.
Boom.
Yeah. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Commissioner Cooper, and it's time for TSS Fantasy.
Yeah!
All right, now we're on sync tonight. We're in Minnesota tonight. Big things popping in the NFC North. A lot of things to talk about fantasy perspective as well. So this makes this a fun show tonight. By the way, happy 4th of July. It is the 4th of July if you're watching this live. Not sure why. Get out and go do something if you are. You can watch this later. Go enjoy the fireworks. All right, let's welcome into the studio first, Justin Jesus Herrera.
Yes, sir. It is good to be here enjoying the fireworks with you boys on the 4th of July. And we got a big show with a lot of fireworks because we're going to be talking about some really good fantasy football options. It is great once again to be on the show, the fantasy show of the people.
Fantasy show, the people indeed. Nick, happy 4th to you, sir. Welcome to the studio. Nick, you got flandered macaronis.
Yes, thank you. It's always great to be here. Again, it not only is it always great to be here, you know where it's also great to be? It's always great to be on tssfantasy.com. Why? Because we have merchandise that you can shop for, and we also have rankings, which are always correct, spot on, never wrong. And also, we have a great writing segment by our own Greg O.J. Mayer. Check him out. He's very, very talented. He's on the come up. So check it out.
Wow.
The juice is loose.
I mean, yeah. Wow. Great job, man. I got all this stuff written down. Now, again, you're screwing me up a little bit. Now you put some stuff on my highlight reel here. No, but if you're watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. Do you want to know why? Not because of the Justin Jefferson signed jersey giveaway, because that's given away tonight. We're going to do that right after Jeopardy. So you want to stay tuned for that. I got a very exciting way we're going to reveal the winner. So make sure you stay tuned for that right after Jeopardy. So don't forget. But hit subscribe because I can announce, like I said, later on this week on Friday, if you heard earlier, Hall of Famer Leroy Butler, the inventor of the Lambeau Leap, will be on. He will be giving us a jersey. We'll be giving that away Hall of Fame weekend. So hit the subscribe button and get involved in that giveaway. Hit subscribe. Don't forget. All right. Also, as Nick alluded to earlier, tssfantasy.com. Got all the great stuff on the round table. Basically, Nick already plugged it already, so just go check that out. Also, we're doing the show on your fantasy league, so you want to check that out as well. Take your fantasy league to the next level. Speaking of fantasy, we're getting close to that time. Get to Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code TSS. We will double your deposit up to $100. Lots of great contests this year, including tickets to see the Dolphins, including Gatorland tickets, including all kind of great stuff. Want to check that out? Get on it today. Fellas, happy 4th. Why do we do that?
Because 2 reasons. 1, we can. And number 2, most importantly, because Justin, as you know and I know, we are the fantasy show of
The people.
The people.
People, indeed. Dr. Miller is in. Happy 4th. We are in for a house call.
Look, I'm a doctor, not an escalator. Spock, give me a hand.
The doctor is in. The bus, or the tour bus, continues on. We're up north in Minnesota. Don't need our jackets yet. Still July, thankfully. Dr. Miller is in. Welcome to the studio, sir.
I appreciate it. I might be here in Minnesota with you, but I am reporting today from Sanibel Island in warm South Florida.
Nice indeed. Yes, we were on the beach today as well. It is the 4th of July, so happy 4th of July to you and yours out there. It is Dalvin Cook season, though. Speaking of 4th of July and barbecue and cooking, Dalvin Cook, my friend, that's what's really going to cook for the Viking season if he does things well. What is his percent to the bench this season?
Fantasy Pros calls Dalvin Cook, quote, an absolute fantasy monster when healthy. When healthy. So Draft Sharks gives him a 95% chance of injury in 2022 and presently has him presently having him miss 3 games. That's about his average over the last 4 seasons. Over the last 4 seasons, he's missed 13 total games. To go back to last year, he was out early with the ankle, late with the shoulder dislocation and labral tear, cost him a total of 4 games. Given the history, I'm going with Draft Sharks on this one. He's 95% of the bench. Count on him to miss more than 1 game.
Ooh, 95%. Make sure you handcuff Alexander Madison. That just kind of goes without saying, though. Obvious handcuff indeed. Let's talk about the receiving core. They, said that the Minnesota Vikings aren't going to be just a run team this year. They are going to throw the ball a lot early and often. Adam Thielen getting up there in age. Doc, what say you, sir? What is his percent to the bench this season?
Yeah, he's not a young guy, and he's coming off of what was season-ending surgery in December for that high ankle sprain. And that was something we first heard about in week 13. He missed 3 games, came back and re-injured it. And again, season-ending surgery in December. Thielen's saying that, quote, the ankle is great. And again, quote, he has not worrying about his ankle. He's played in 16 games each of his first 5 seasons, but not in the 3 since. Thielen is 80% of the bench, but it's not going to be connected to last season's injury. Not a young man. It's going to have something new pop up. 80% Adam Thielen.
So going back to the Alexander Madison handcuff, KJ Osborne might even be your first handcuff to go to for a receiver. Obviously stepped up last year when both Justin Jefferson get down. When Adam Thielen did go down last year, KJ Osborne did fill in a lot. So definitely keep your eye out for him as well. Dr. Miller, I know Sanibel Island is beautiful. I hope you enjoying it. Lots of good places to eat out there. I'll definitely text you some of my favorites. Crave actually is a great breakfast place, so definitely look out for that. All fresh stuff there, so check that out. All right, man, we appreciate you. We'll see you later on this week as we explore the NFC North.
Sounds good. I'll see you next time.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Miller has been quoting Fantasy Pros a lot in his little segment. You guys have noticed, but better watch out this year when Dr. Miller gets in the draft for sure. All right, guys, let's not let our guests wait any longer. It's 4th of July. Dustin Baker, editor Vikings territory, is in the building. Let's bring him in. 4th of July, Viking style. I don't care what fan you are. That's one of the coolest things in the NFL for sure. Dustin, welcome into the studio, my brother.
Hey, what up? I don't think I've ever had an intro to anything, so I felt kind of like a big deal coming into the show. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
Not even your wedding? Not even your wedding, Dustin?
Well, see, I played basketball in high school, so we always had the roar of the crowd for that. But the wedding, I think it was some classic rock jam that I picked. But I've never had like a Vikings oriented anointment for something. So this you guys got me here. I like it.
Well,
Gotta get ready to run through the wall, bro. It's time. We're here to celebrate the Minnesota Vikings. All right, let's talk about their 2022 outlook. I can't even ever spit that out. Last year, 8-9. You guys were eliminated right prior in week 17 from the Packers. The Packers took you out of playoff contention. Oh, God, that's got to sting. Number 2 in the NFC North. Offensively, you guys were 12th overall, 17th in rush yards, 11th in the pass. Points, you guys were 14th in the league. Defensively, 30th overall. That's where the biggest bugaboo. 24th versus the rush, 28th versus the pass, and 24 against points against. So that's your big bugaboo there for sure. Free agency-wise this year went obviously defensively, which you should. Zadarius Smith, the linebacker, Harrison Phillips for this defensive tackle, Jordan Hicks as well. Chris Reed for the line, Jesse Davis to kind of shore up your offensive line a little bit as well. You lost Xavier Woods, so he's on to greener pastures, if you will. Linebacker Nick Vigil, tight end Tyler Conklin is gone, and center Mason Cole as well. In the draft, we basically went all defense. Again, we talked about how bad the defense was, and that's what you went to address this year was the defense. So rightfully so. Good job there. Listen, I'm looking at this team overall. You have a bugaboo at the defense. Your offense is already great. You have a good offense ready to rumble, so you improved the defense, which is what you were supposed to do. You have an identity. You can run the football. You guys are talking about throwing the football more, which would be even more exciting. I'm even more excited to see it. So quite frankly, I have you guys this year going 10-7 this year and making the wild card in a weak NFC as well. But who cares what I think? That's why we have an expert in the building, Mr. Baker, my friend. Give me your outlook.
Yeah. To piggyback on some of those transactions you mentioned, Anthony Barr doesn't seem to be coming back. He's still a free agent, and he was part of the Vikings nucleus for the entire Zimmer tenure. Like from the moment Zimmer was drafted to the moment Zimmer was fired, Anthony Barr was in the mix. And then also on the defensive, I guess, doldrums that have happened since the start of 2020, that's the reason why Zimmer's gone, because a defense-first coach in this brand of NFL is a dying breed. So when the defense first coach can't coach a good defense, well, what the hell's the deal here? Like, there's no reason to keep doing this. So my outlook isn't far off of yours. I've tried to look at this from every angle because I did think they would be good the last 2 seasons too, but they were only mediocre. So I think based on the roster talent, there's some suspect depth on defense. They're banking a lot on their young guys blossoming. May or may not happen. So I'm right there with you in that 10-7, 11-6 range. I think that will be a fair opening salvo for Kevin O'Connell. But here's the kicker. Because Kirk Cousins has been attached to the team for 4 seasons already, they've got to get there and win a playoff game and, show more. They made the decision to keep Cousins when they could have easily traded him with a no trade clause, but they want to give it a run with O'Connell, his former employer in Washington. So it's dicey territory because for O'Connell, like 9-8, that's fine, getting his feet wet. But with Cousins, we can't afford that stuff anymore. So I'm right there with you. The Packers might be diminished. They might not. I'll believe it when I see it. But yeah, I like that 10-7, 11-6 territory.
Yeah, and the NFC, quite frankly, isn't all that stacked. So you definitely have an opportunity to even win a playoff game this season, I do believe. All right, Justin, let's go to you first, my friend. What say you on the outlook for the Vikings this year?
When I calculated it, worst case scenario was 10-7. Best case scenario was 12-5. I really think that you guys have a legit chance to sweep the Packers this year. And that's no joke. That's not trying to be a suck up or anything like that. That's a legit thing here. I think that this is a team that right now has all the pieces together and they all know each other. It's not bringing in new guys like the Packers. The Packers have a whole new receiving corps with Aaron Rodgers, one of the most frustrating human beings to be on the field with if you're not legit talented. So when I look at that and I look at, they brought in Ed Donatel, who comes from the Vic Fangio tree over there in Denver. He was instrumental in helping Denver become a really good defense, which they have been. This is another team that struggled a little bit more on offense, but their defense was in check the past couple seasons. So bringing in Ed Donatel is going to definitely help, with these younger guys that you guys just got on, Andrew Booth, Lewis Sine. I think they're perfect for the secondary. I think Sine is a great hitter. I think Booth can definitely play perimeter and inside nickel corner. But the real thing is that you guys still have so many good weapons. You got Dalvin Cook, and you've got the idea now that Dalvin Cook can go into the slot, catch passes. Andrew Madison can work his way in as the running back while Cook is on the outside. You got Justin Jefferson, who, we all fell in love with Jamar Chase, and we're like, oh yeah, Justin Jefferson, he's just Mr. Consistency. Do you know that Justin Jefferson had 4 more deep ball attempts than Mr. Deep Ball Jamar Chase did? This man is all over the field. Now they're talking about him running as a Cooper Kupp type guy, running in the slot. Oh my God, Jesus Christ! This guy already had 108 receptions, 167 targets. He's going to get fed even more if that's possible. Then you got Adam Thielen, who 24 touchdowns the past 2 years. Dude is just, I don't know what happened, where they put the steroids in or what, but he has just gone off the charts with this rejuvenation, this 30-year-old rejuvenation of his career, and now he is having the best success he's had ever. I think he's had more touchdowns in the past 2 years than he had maybe in the first 5 of his career. So there's that, and then Irv Smith Jr. This is the one guy I'm looking at. I'm like, wow, okay, let's see what this guy can really do. Because last year Conklin had some success, and we also talked about KJ Osborne having some success. So there's definitely a lot of weapons to be fed. I think there's a lot to be happy about if you're a Vikings fan.
Absolutely.
Thielen's ascension for touchdowns happened because Kyle Rudolph left, and he was the red zone target. And over the past 2 years, Thielen's been the transitionary piece for that. And it just works because, to your point, before Thielen would have about 4 to 7 touchdowns per year and just rack up the yards.
I think it also helps that everybody seems to want to double team Justin Jefferson. They don't realize Thielen was a legit number 1 before Jefferson was there too. So it's you got 2, talented wide receivers to cover. And it's you can't double cover both of them. So
I hear you.
Indeed. Great points all the way around. Nick, what say you? Where do you see this Vikings team this year?
Well, between you and Justin, y'all went back for second, thirds, and fourths, so there's not really much else for me to say. Holy crap. I have you guys at a winning record. It's not as much as you'd like me to say. I'm going to say you're at 9-8 because here's the thing. I don't think there's going to be much of a drop off with Green Bay. I think, Green Bay is Green Bay, LaFleur and the coaching staff up there, they're going to put it together and they're going to make Karen happy, and they're going to have him do whatever he wants to do and just get out of his way. The team that I think is going to be on the come up in your division this year is going to be Detroit. I think Detroit just gets a little bit better every single year. The team that drops is Chicago. So I'm going to say that Green Bay wins the division. You guys come in second, Detroit comes in third, and Chicago comes in fourth. Some of the things that I think are going to detract from the team is, number one, is losing Conklin. Because when Irv Smith went down, he stepped up big time, especially in the red zone, particularly late in the season. So now he went off to the Jets. Now you have to rely on Irv Smith to see can he stay on the field, number one. And then number two, can he sustain a 17 game schedule? You did go heavy defense. It is a young defense, so we don't know how that's gonna play out for the rest of the season. Your offense is stacked. You got one of the best offenses in the league, but the defense is suspect. So that's why I'm going to have you guys at 9-8 thus far.
All right, yeah, we'll see. Very young defense. Let's see if they can gel together. Like I said, already got the nucleus for a great offense. It's already there. Just got to get that D to step up a little bit. All right, Dustin, we're going to go to you on best game on the schedule. Give me the game you're most excited for this year.
Oh, man, there are. Oh, Justin or Dustin?
No,
Dustin.
Dustin.
You know, it's always the guest. The guest.
Okay. Well, this one is tricky because I go to all the home games, first of all. And so there's so many. Thanksgiving against the Patriots will be good. But I think because it will be Kevin O'Connell's first game, that the first game against the Packers at home is a trial by fire for him. And it's also, a get to know you. Does he have the cojones to take on the rival right out of the gate at home with this fresh look, this pass first, all of this new philosophy? So I really wanted to say something different than, the week one, the one that's 10 weeks away. But it really is because we don't know anything about this guy other than he's young and cool.
All right, Nick. While there's still meat on the bone, you go take this thing over. Give me a game that you like on the schedule.
It's not a sexy game, but I think it's going to be a very pivotal game in your season. I like Week 11 when you're at home against Dallas. I think it's going to be a pivotal game for you guys, especially if both teams, rather, for that matter, are in the playoff hunt. Hopefully you guys can do me a solid and knock out Dallas for me and my birds. Other than that, there's plenty of good games, but I'm going to pick with that one because I think you guys are pretty much evenly matched. Their defense slipped a little bit. They have good offense. So do you guys. So we'll see where we are at that season. But at that point in the season, you should be firing on all cylinders at that point.
The joke on that one amongst some of my pals is that we hope that Prescott plays because the last 2 years they've faced the Cowboys against Andy Dalton and Cooper Rush, and they lost. So we're like, we don't want whoever the backup is. We don't want him. We don't want that guy.
He don't want no DiNucci.
No.
All right, let's go with Ustin with a J. You, sir, give me the best game on the schedule.
I'm going to go with Week 10 at the Bills. I think that's going to be a very interesting game as far as figuring out if the Vikings can be a Super Bowl contender. Because Bills is probably, when I look at your schedule, I mean, probably won't be the toughest schedule or toughest game, but it's the biggest name on there, right? Like if you're going to make a name for yourself going forward, it's going to be Week 10, going against the Bills, going in that rough terrain, facing the best quarterback in the league right now, and going against a good old-fashioned Stephon Diggs, a good old friend of your guys. I don't know if you actually played him since, so that will be a nice, welcome back for him. But I think that's going to be a pivotal game because this is a team that we were talking about Super Bowl last year. So, you always want to take those teams and you want to, compete with them. You want to show that you can compete with them, show that you can beat them. And then it kind of gives you that confidence going that back end of that schedule so that you can finish out strong.
I've written a couple times on VikingsTerritory.com that agreeing with you that if the Vikings happen to be good and they pull that game off on the road, that will be the date when everybody gets excited. Like if they're good, this is a big if because this new regime could be terrible. Also, Case Keenum is on that team. He's the backup quarterback, and Dalvin Cook's brother is on that team.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, James Cook is on that team. That's right.
Very exciting indeed. Well, for me, guys, it's pretty easy. New Year's Day. You guys know I like the festive stuff, but how easy is this? The Vikings go to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. I mean, you can't get any more exciting than that. Talking about an NFC that is pretty weak. And the Packers are pretty much, I mean, if you look down the rest of your, the schedule, you have Jets, Vikings, Colts, Giants, Packers and Bears. So I mean, look at that remaining schedule. If you beat Green Bay in Green Bay, I mean, that's saying a lot going into the playoffs. So for me, huge pivotal game for Minnesota down the stretch. And especially, again, it's New Year's Day. How festive is that? Come on.
So based on how things have gone for the last 6 years, the Vikings always finish the season at home against the Bears. Just a weird glitch in the schedule. However, this is the first time in franchise history in 61 years that they finish with back-to-back road games against the Packers and the Bears. That's never happened before.
Oh, maybe it's a good omen.
Well, we'll see.
Maybe that's what they need. Little adversity to get them set for the playoffs. You never know, my friend. All right, let's take a quick break. We come back. We're going to do some fantasy feud Minnesota style. We'll be right back.
Hayden, we love fantasy football. We do? It's a fantastic game, yet still not perfect. Like, I hate leaving high-scoring players on my bench.
The worst, man.
In fact, hate it even more when I put injured players and they're in my starting lineup.
Can't have that.
And I need a life. The waivers, the trades, every single week, it grinds on me. So we at Underdog Fantasy want to make fantasy football easier for everyone out there. It's called Best Ball, and we set your optimal lineup for you each and every week. You can do it all year long. We have drafts going all the way from February to week 1 of the NFL season. What are you waiting for? Use our awesome early sign-up offer to get a little extra something on that first deposit and that first time you play on Underdog Fantasy.
You put them up, reach the skies, touch the stars up above, cause it's one time for the underdog, one time for the underdog.
I think it only fitting that because their names rhyme and because Justin looks like a Viking that he go against Dustin. Let's get it on. Dustin, just so you're aware, unfortunately, I don't have any fancy buzzers. Okay. If you know the answer as I shout out the question, simply shout it out. If you get control of the round, just like Family Feud, you got 3 strikes to get all 5 on the board. If you can't close it out, Justin will get a chance to steal and vice versa. Got it, my friend?
Excellent.
All right. Justin, Dustin, it's on now. Fantasy Feud, Viking style. Here we go. Brad?
Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson. It's going to be a long game. It won't be a long game if Justin Jefferson is on tonight. Indeed, man. Brad's so funny. Brad will be on the Bear Show. A poor guy doesn't know every fantasy feud he's featured all game. All right, guys. Justin and Dustin. Nick, you got to be my little ref here. Make sure if I see you shout it out the answer in the nick of time. Top 5 answers on the board. Here we go. Give me the top 5 passing yard leaders in Viking history.
Culpepper.
Justin
Culpepper.
Now that's the easy one.
So Dante Culpepper is number 3 on this list, 20,162. You have control. What else you got?
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins. You like that? He's number 4 on this list, 16,387.
America's favorite Marvel character. Deadpool, Wade Wilson.
I was like, what? Yes, Wade Wilson.
I was like, where the hell is he going with that?
Number 5 on this list, 12,135. So you're missing number 1 and number 2. You got no strikes.
I got him if you don't, so no pressure.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? Is it Frank or is it Frank Tarkenton? Or is it
Frank
Fran Tarkenton?
He's number 1 on this list, 33,098 yards. All right.
It's Fran.
You're missing number 2 on this list.
All right, Fran Dresser, we got her down. How about Brad Johnson? Brad Johnson on there?
Brad Johnson. Number 6, or what? Yeah, number 6 on this list.
Number 6. That's Bolsheviks. Let's see. I'm running out of answers for this one.
I don't think he'll get it. I don't think he ever heard of this guy.
Probably not.
I'm sure he has.
I don't think so.
I know the guy.
Oh.
He knows the guy. Oh shit.
Ooh.
Oh shit.
All right, don't make me hit it.
Oh, you gotta hit it.
All right, let's go. We got one more. Let's go.
Why can't I think of this guy? Probably because I'm not a Vikings fan. Oh man. You might as well just hit it again. I ain't got it.
Oh, hell no!
Dustin, you got to steal it. You said you didn't know him.
Yeah,
What
I do.
you got?
So I got to chide Justin for a second. You're about my age, it looks like, so you should know this. It's Tommy Kramer.
Pulling out the age. Tommy Kramer.
What year was Tommy Kramer playing?
80s, like 79 to 89 or something like that.
Oh,
yeah, 77 to 89. I like number 8 on this list. How did it feel for you guys to watch Brett Favre suit up in purple?
Oh, absolutely wonderful.
I mean,
oh, really?
Oh, God.
It was amazing. I mean,
some of those 2009 memories, I was 25 years old. Best memories that there are for sports for me.
Oh, no, I can never accept Aikman as an Eagle. There'd be no way. There'd be no way.
If he took you to the playoffs, you would accept him as an Eagle.
Right, exactly.
This
Okay,
close
okay.
to the Super Bowl. This close.
Yeah.
Full
Right.
show.
Tommy
I still hate
Kramer,
it.
number 2 on this list, 24,775. All right, let's go on to question number 2. Top 5 answers on the board. Here we go. Give me the top 5 rush TD leaders in all
Adrian
time.
Peterson.
Adrian Peterson. I don't know who said it first.
It was
Nick.
Dustin.
Dustin, it is Adrian Peterson, number 1 on this list, 97. Go
All
right
right.
ahead, Dustin. You got control.
Chuck Foreman.
Chuck Foreman.
Mhm.
I feel like a clean sweep is coming
I feel
on.
like Justin's in trouble. Chuck
Oh,
Foreman,
Justin's got no shot.
Oh, no.
Chuck Foreman tied at number 2 with 52.
You guys are just soaking this shit up, aren't you?
Yes. Yes, we
Ted
are.
Brown.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Ted Brown.
Ted Brown. Ted Brown is number 4 on this list and with 40.
Dalvin's probably number 5 with 39 touchdowns.
Dalvin Cook.
You are screwed, Justin.
No,
39. So you just got to get who's tied up at the top.
yeah, that's where it gets tricky. So he might have some. I don't know if he'll know it, but this is where it gets dicey. Let's do Terry Allen.
Terry Allen. I'll tell you.
No.
I'll tell you right now. He has no idea what it is.
Terry Allen was number 11.
Really? Damn. Okay.
Yes.
See, the thing is, I do, but is it Bill Brown?
Bill Brown. Dustin closed out Justin. It's 2-0 right now. You gotta get this, bro. You gotta get this. But listen, this question here, Dustin, really tests your fanhood. I usually get people every time with this one. So let's see. Top 5 answers on the board. Here's the question. Give me the top 5 opponents you have the best winning percentage against.
Houston Texans.
The Houston Texans. The Houston Texans are number 1 on this list. You are 5-0 against the Texans.
Is there a minimum for games, or is this like going 2-0 against the team or something?
There's no minimum, correct? This is all based on winning percentage.
Oh boy, Justin's gonna get a chance to steal this one, but I will try my damnedest. The Lions.
The Detroit Lions. They are number 4 on this list. You guys are 79-40 against the Lions. 600.
By the way, they're 5-0 against the Texans.
Yep,
Yeah.
never
Love
lost to
seeing
them.
them on the schedule.
Everybody.
So the next 3, or some of the 3, are going to just be Dinker AFC teams where they've only played a handful of times. Let's do Jacksonville.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh boy,
Jaguars, you're 6-1. 6-1 against the Jaguars.
My goodness.
Number 2 on this list.
The hilarious part, gentlemen, is I know who it's not. In my bones, I can feel the teams that it's not.
That'll be the next question.
I'm probably going to regret. Let's do the Jets.
The Jets. No.
Oh, man.
I can't reveal their record because that leads into the next question, so I'm not going to.
Okay. Dang it.
Way to give it away.
Let's do the Cardinals.
The Cardinals. You got number 3 and number 5 on this list.
Yeah. I got one more guess.
1 strike remaining.
Let's see. Bills, Dolphins. Let's do Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns.
I thought I was dead there.
Number 3 on this list. There.
I think I got it. I got it.
11-5 against them.
I just had an epiphany. Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Stop it. Get some help.
Damn it.
Epiphany lost.
Justin, you got number 5. You got 1 team. You can snag it. It's a lot of teams out there, but if you got 1 team left, can you name this team that they have the best winning percentage? Number 5.
I got 2 teams in my head, and I'm just going to go with it. The Bengals.
The Cincinnati Bengals. What to get you all excited? Wrong. It was the Tennessee Titans. 9-5.
Never guessed.
And the Oilers in that too, right?
Right. So mix that kind of in there as well. All right. So we got one more question remaining, guys. I'll just go ahead and just name it out so we can get to the fantasy part. Vikings worst winning percentage. The guys you have the worst winning percentage against. The Jets actually are number 1 on this list. You are 3-8 against the Jets.
My goodness.
Number 2 is the Colts. You are 7-17 against the Colts. Number 3, the Patriots. 4-9 against the Patriots. Number 4, the Seahawks. 6-12 against the Seahawks. And number 5, the Raiders. 6-9 versus the Raiders. That's your worst winning percentages.
I'm
Hey,
actually quite proud there's no NFC teams on there.
Indeed, that's right. Well, the Seahawks are on there,
Oh, yeah.
but they had a little bit of time in the AFC. To your point,
True.
though, back
Yep.
in the day. So to your
Good point.
But you
All
still
right,
got the Jets on there.
Yeah,
that's
That's
true.
a swift kick to the nuts.
That's a little wake up call for sure. All right, Dustin, congratulations. You are tonight's winner. And Ustin with the J, you are the loser.
Dumbass. Thank these. They call me dumbass. Black Entertainment. Stupid.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
Held your own, though. Held your own with the Vikings, though, Justin. I was actually pretty impressed with you there. All right, let's take a quick break and we get back. We're a fantasy show. We're going to talk about fantasy rankings, and what's cool is we got a fun team to talk about it about. So we'll be right back. Hey, everyone. It's Commissioner Cooper from TSS Fantasy. Want to give your own fantasy league that extra professional touch? Say less. We got you. TSS was based off a show that we did on our own fantasy league. Night, sorry, and now possible play hole. You're on your way. Now we want to bring that professional, fun, and creative side to your fantasy league. And you can do it for as low as $5 extra per owner.
Oh my.
I will guarantee it will increase your interactions within the league, create more fun, friendly banter, and give your league that extra real-life feel that you didn't know it needed. We look forward to interacting with you and your league soon. Don't forget TSSFantasy.com. Go visit it today. Get signed up. We are the fantasy show of the people. All right, guys. Through the magic of television, I have a cool, fancy wheel back behind me. I forgot all about the contest, so my bad on that. Right now we're gonna pull for the Justin Jefferson signed jersey. So basically what we did is we took 14 we had 100 subscribers, by the way. Thank you all for subscribing. We appreciate you. We will have some more contests, so we'll keep you guys involved in those as well. So out of those 100 subscribers, we pulled 14 names. I put them all on the little fancy board. Don't mind the little tape job I did. I'm going to spin the wheel. Once it's done, we'll call out the winner. This is really exciting stuff. I bought this wheel for our fantasy league, and it didn't really work out as planned, so I'm so glad I get to use it now. All right, here we go for the Justin Jefferson signed jersey from Pristine Auction. I think I did. Here it goes. It is Ladarius Brown. Congratulations, Ladarius Brown. You have won the signed Justin Jefferson jersey from Pristine Auction. Congratulations, my brother. All right, well, now that's out of the way. Again, we're a fantasy show. We're going to talk about rankings, 4th of July. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, we talked about Kirk Cousins earlier. He's the Rodney Dangerfield of the NFL. He gets no respect, I tell you. I mean, the bottom line is he is consistent can be as a QB. Last year, 16 games, he was number 11 QB overall. He's got great weapons. Also, again, if the defense doesn't play well, that actually is to his benefit, especially for our benefit for fantasy perspective, because they'll be on the field having to throw themselves back into ball games as well. So right now, though, because, we talked about some guys like, I have Brady outside the top 10. I do have Kirk Cousins a little bit outside the top 10 at 14 right now, although it does not mean he could not slide up. I do like his potential this year. You can't go wrong with Kirk Cousins on a fantasy roster, that's for sure. Justin, I'll go to you, sir. What say you on Mr. Kirk Cousins?
He's quarterback 17 for me right now. It's not solid. I mean, honestly, I think he can move up a little bit if, I was thinking about moving him up and moving Rodgers back because I was thinking about it. I was just like, how are you gonna say that Aaron Rodgers is gonna lose twice this man, not have him above him? So I might adjust it up. But as of right now, he's at 17. I think he could hit into that, QB1 range. He's been doing that consistently for most of his career. So I'm just going to say this. He's never really had the rushing upside that you wish. As Dustin has said, he's always been a 4,000-yard quarterback, always been a 30-plus touchdown quarterback, and that's awesome. Usually for that top 10 range, you got to either be throwing 40 touchdowns and 5,000 yards, or you got to be rushing for another 1,000 yards on top of that. So for me, right now, 17, like I said, it's very flexible. He could easily end up in the top 12. He could easily end up, around 13. So for me. So, yeah, I'm going to keep him there, and obviously I'll adjust with a little bit later. But for right now, it's QB 17.
All right, not too shabby. Nick, what say you, sir, on Mr. Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, I have him at 14. The consensus overall by position is 15. He's 122nd overall. But just to put it into perspective, like Cooper said, Rodney Dangerfield, he threw for 4,200 yards last season, 33 touchdowns and 7 picks. So he can win you a football, a fantasy championship, provided you got the horses ahead of him. He's not going to do it alone, but you got a nice stack. If you get Thielen, or if you get Jefferson in the first couple picks, and then like around 12, 13 to 15, you get Cousins. That's a nice stack. That's pretty fearful whenever you're going up against your opponent. So again, 14, I have him 15 overall.
Pretty fearful indeed. Dustin, what say you, sir? Where do you think we have Kurt? Do we have him in the right spot?
Yes, you do. And to pair it to Justin's point, he doesn't take off and run. He always says every time about this year that he's going to do more of that. Doesn't really work out. But the problem with Cousins in fantasy, and I know this because I study this Viking stuff way too much than a healthy person should, is habitually he starts slow out of the gate. First couple games are and then he gets incredibly hot in October and November. In Minnesota, we call it Kirktober and Kirkvember. Like it's weird. Every year, I kid you not, he goes on a tear. And then in December, it comes back to earth, and it's about 1.5 touchdowns. And so you get all of that meat, all of that production right in the fall, the autumn. So I think it turns people off that he's going to have at least one stinker of a game. And usually that's the game that you finally pull the trigger to start him on your fantasy team. And then you're like, oh God. But when you reflect on it, like Cooper was talking about, each season he's usually around that 11th or 12th best in fantasy. And that also happens to be where I rank him in like the world for quarterback ranking, about 11th, 12th, or 13th, depending on a given season. So yeah, I think your guys' rankings are just, I'd say 13 or 14 for fantasy sake.
If you're doing the zero running back strategy, he's definitely not a bad guy to be looking for later on in rounds if he's floating around out there, for sure indeed.
And that was all with Zimmer in charge,
Yeah.
all of the past. So there is a very reasonable possibility that he could pop off into that 38, 39 touchdown area.
Absolutely. All right, let's go on to the running backs. Dalvin Cook, number 15 last year, had some injury issues last year, so 13 games on the field in 2021. This year, I mean, he looks. I don't know, man. I'm looking at Dalvin Cook. I'm looking at this offense. I got him ranked number 5 this year, number 5 overall. Really like Dalvin Cook this year, especially if he stays healthy on the field. Obviously, like I spoke about earlier, got a handcuff with him with Madison. But there's nothing wrong with Dalvin Cook on your fantasy roster. Is definitely one of those guys to build your roster around. He's one of those guys that are produced for you, big time produced for you. And when he does go to those floor games, he's still putting up enough points for it's not like a big bust for you. So Dalvin Cook for me all day for sure. Justin, what say you on Dalvin Cook?
Yeah, so he's never had a full season, but it's not obviously to his detriment because he's always been top 5, top 10 running back. Last year he was 15, but that was kind of a shady 15 because he really had this like massive touchdown regression. He went from 17 touchdowns the previous year, an outrageous number, to 6. So when I kind of put it more into like the median, I put it about like 10. He was actually a top 7 running back when you put him at 10 touchdowns last year. So I'm putting him at running back 8 right now. I think that he has top 5 talent, and I think that his floor is probably top 10. So I'm putting him at 8 right now. I think you still got to consider his age. He had the 5th most carries last year, even though he missed 4 games. So they were using him a lot. You guys really want to grind him into the ground. But obviously, it didn't matter. He was wearing that sling for like a little bit, and he even got better with it. So I can't keep him out of my top 10, but I got to be a little realistic with his age and his workload over the past couple of years and kind of put him at running back 8.
Yeah, and when you talk about touchdowns, we had a big discussion about that last summer on how game flow doesn't necessarily dictate that for the every season. George Kittle actually was a good example of that because we had talked about how he wasn't getting in the end zone, last year, starting to get in the end zone last year and starting to really put up good points last year. So, again, you can't dictate every year when the TDs will come. So this year, like you said, definitely probably a little bit higher than last year for sure. Nick, what say you on Dalvin Cook?
I have the Chef at number 4 this year. I think he's a top 5 back. I think he's going to have a better season this year. I think obviously I have no medical basis on it, but I think he's going to be healthier. So I think he's going to stay on the field longer. He did have a little under 1,100 yards last season, and he averaged just under 90 yards a game. So 89.2, just under 90. And his position is 6 also. So I think he's going to have a better season. I think they're going to lean on him a little bit more. And I think he's going to be healthy. Plus that he's always going to be looking over his shoulder at Madison because the only time Madison plays is when Cook is out. And when he does play, he's awesome. So he might have that little pressure on him too. But, I mean, if you got Cook, you – safe bet, 100%.
Dustin, what say you, my friend? We have Dalvin in the right spot.
Yeah, I think right about 5 is fair, knowing full well that he's going to miss at least 2 games, probably 3 or 4. That's the way it goes. You can't get around it. You guys probably remember this being fantasy heads that about back in May, it was like I think it was a random May weekday where somebody, like a coach or somebody, said that they wanted to feature him more as a wide receiver. And wouldn't you know it, that day at practice, indeed, he was out, flanked out, catching passes. And then, like after practice, I kid you not, like 3 hours later, he tweeted a photo of him or a video of him catching a pass, like with an eye emoji. So it's either this big misdirection thing or they're actually going to do it. He had 53 receptions in 2019. When Kevin Stefanski was the offensive coordinator the year before he bolted to Cleveland. And then after Stefanski left, they were like, yeah, we don't need to do that anymore. And they just continued to hand him the ball as a running back. And then one thing I want to let you guys know, I keep talking about Madison, which is great. I like him. But the whispers up here are that he could be one of the surprise summer cuts because the Vikings drafted Ty Chandler in round 5 of the 2022 NFL draft. And he's older than Alexander Madison. Go figure that one out. And so if you're going to draft a running back that old, you probably should have a plan to use him. And perhaps, Madison's more of a bowling ball running back than Dalvin. And if O'Connell truly wants to throw the ball out to his running backs, a la like Le'Veon Bell from the mid 2010s, then that might be more a job suited for Chandler. So I'm not declaring that Madison's going to be cut, but I wouldn't be shocked at all if they cut him when the 53-man roster hits.
Justin, Justin, we talked about this prior to the show. This is why we're doing the summer vacation tour, getting this inside info like this. This is great to hear. Good stuff to find out because, we're starting to get up on fantasy draft soon. So you might need to know who the right guy to handcuff is. That's for absolute sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you guys that I wouldn't handcuff Cook with Madison. Not unless my draft was after the 53-man roster came out.
Big news indeed. Make sure you mark that down. All right, let's talk about receivers. Justin Jefferson, obviously the thrill hill indeed. Number 4 last year in 2021. This year I have him 4 again. I mean, that's just kind of where you could have him 1. We're splitting hairs here. 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. That's just where I have. I know Justin. Justin loves Justin. I got you. I know. We'll get to you. I got him at number 4 this year. Adam Thielen. It's so funny that I did these and I didn't even look at last year. Adam Thielen, it's 27th last year. This year I have him ranked 26th. That was in 13 games. So if Adam Thielen stays healthy, maybe a little more KJ Osborne, maybe a little, less Adam, maybe have him more as a red zone threat. Who knows? So we'll see. KJ Osborne last year, 35th in 2021. I don't really have him ranked yet because I'm just not really sure what's going to go on with KJ Osborne this year, quite frankly. Justin, what say you, sir, on this Minnesota receiving core?
Well, I mean, Justin Jefferson's number 1. If you don't have him as number 1, you're crazy. He's the most consistent receiver, and as I put out there, he's a fucking threat everywhere. He's just that damn good. And at a young age, I mean, he went from 1,400 yards to 1,600 yards, 7 touchdowns to 10 touchdowns. This guy is just getting better and better. So, like I said, with the O'Donnell thing, I think that he's probably going to put him in the slot a little bit, create a lot of mismatches. That's what I would do with the guy. I would create as many mismatches as I possibly can with that guy. But who am I? I'm not an offensive coordinator. But as far as Thielen goes, I got him around 28, 30-ish. It's just the regression kind of, it's got to happen at some point. Age has got to drop off at some point. I mean, sure, he could be Jerry Rice and have a whole second career, but why wasn't he Jerry Rice for his first career? You know what I mean? So,
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs is only 28 right now.
He took the receptions.
And then as far as like other receivers, KJ Osborne, he's not really on my radar right now. A couple guys are on my radar. I want to know what Dustin thinks about Amir Smith-Marset, and I want to know what he thinks about Naylor, their draft pick, because he seems to be a bigger target that they kind of liked. In that, I think he was a 5th rounder, if I'm not wrong. If I'm not right. Or, yeah,
Naylor was a 6. I just talked to him last week on our my show with Bryant McKinney.
Okay, so how did he look, or how did he sound like he was going to fit into this offense?
Well, it's out of the gate, he's going to contend for punt returns. That doesn't really help this show. But he's going to try to wiggle himself in there. I wouldn't certainly. Oh, it's a no-brainer that he wouldn't be drafted in a fantasy draft quite yet. And then Amir Smith-Marset came on in the last 2 weeks of the season when things were getting quasi-irrelevant for the Vikings. And yeah, he's been dealing with a mysterious injury for the last couple months. It's one of those things where they say he'll be fine by the end of the month for camp. But yeah, Smith-Marset, based on his maturation, should end up being the WR4. But yeah, with Naylor, it's kind of like a lottery ticket. He was a big play dude at Michigan State, and like I said, he was on my podcast last week, and he says all the right things, and we shall see. Just kind of believe it when you see it.
Shameless plug indeed. Nick, what say you, brother? Where do you have these receivers at?
Guys got to An ex-NFL player is a co-host on a podcast, and look at us. All right. So anyway, I got Jefferson myself at number 3 in PPR. And then overall, he's a position number 2. And then ADP, he's 5. So, you really can't go wrong with 1,600 yards and 10 touchdowns. That's nothing to sneeze at. But again, I have him at number 3, right behind Chase and Kupp, respectively. I have Cooper Kupp at number 1.
Dustin, you like where we have our guys at, or your guys at, I should say?
Well, not you personally with Jefferson. I thought that was a little too low. But if I'm taking a wide receiver, if I have whatever pick that I have, I'm going to spend it on a wide receiver. I really think that Cooper Kupp is the only one I'd entertain to take before Jefferson. And I don't like taking Vikings because I don't like the dual shitty Sundays. So, but I can make an exception for Jefferson because he's shown that he's healthy and the production is there even when they have shitty seasons of 8 and 9. So I'm high on Jefferson, and I'd certainly pick him. And then on Thielen, we touched on at the top of the show. So out of nowhere, suddenly somebody's like, "You're the red zone threat now," and he's like, "Yeah, I can do that." And since the start of 2020, he is 3rd in the NFL in receiving touchdowns while being targeted the 33rd most. So it's disproportional in a delicious way for fantasy use. I wrote an article on our site about how ADP rankings for Thielen are just like way down the board. And to Justin's point, yeah, he's getting old and all that, but he's not like ancient. He's 31 and he'll be 32 by the time the season starts. And then on Osborne, even when Jefferson and Thielen are healthy, he's still productive. The Vikings have ignored WR3 for years. And last year, Osborne finally blossomed. And then when Thielen started to miss the time, he auditioned as a WR2. So Osborne's trajectory is going to happen whether or not Thielen or Jefferson are healthy or not. And it should only enhance because O'Connell's there, and this lid that we had on WR3 emphasis can finally be opened.
Indeed. Bringing the thunder tonight. I love it. This is why we doing the vacation, man. I love it. Absolutely. All right. Let's go the tight end position. Irv Smith Jr., man. This guy, there was so much hype last year. So much hype. I was like, I even bought in. I was like, ooh, he did. I forget it was like, I think it was either a training camp practice or maybe something happened where it was like a one-handed. Everyone was, oh my God, Irv Smith Jr. And man, I bought in too, bro. I was like, ooh, I thought I was Mr. Insider. Irv Smith Jr. Yeah, exactly. You win some, you lose some. Listen, Tyler Conklin last year, he filled in the role 19th overall. So not bad job at the tight end spot for them last year. But it's Tyler Conklin, you put someone in an athletic Irv Smith Jr., if he's healthy, could be big this year in this offense that we were just talking about having red zone threats. Adam Thielen can't go to Adam Thielen every time. Obviously the defense is going to start like keying up to it. So maybe someone else enter Irv Smith Jr. Maybe that sleeper tight end to look for this year. I still got him down below at 18 right now because just got to prove himself, quite frankly. Justin, what say you on Irv Smith Jr.?
Yeah, swerving Irv Smith. I love that guy. I was big on him last year. I drafted him. And the thing was, when you drafted him last year, you were still drafting him at low capital because he was still an unproven commodity. So you didn't really even feel the hit unless you were like waiting until the very end to draft a tight end. Sure. So now it's just like, okay, I got him at an even lower value from last year because now all the hype's back on him. So now I'm like, I'm eating all day long on my dynasty teams. And yeah, I'll take him in best ball because I think that this guy's got, those kind of CJ Uzomah weeks on him where he could have 2 touchdowns in a game easily. I mean, this guy runs wide receiver routes. Like he runs with a crispness to his routes, which is what I kind of liked about him. I was just like, oh my God, you've got another wide receiver out there. And what kind of made Conklin, big was he had a lot of red zone threats, like you were saying. And it was kind of like a switch off. It was either Osborne or, Conklin, Osborne or Conklin. One of them was going. Now I'm just saying Irv Smith, big Irv Smith, put him in there, let him roll. Let him get the touchdowns. I think you could have a Robert Tonyan type year. He is currently my tight end 15. And yeah, I mean, I like the outlook on this kid.
He has arisen and spoken. Irv Smith, 15th. Watch out for him. Nick,
Swerving
what
Irvin.
say you? Are you swerving on Irvin?
I'm passing on Irvin. Right now, I don't really believe in him only because he has so much hype and he went out and it was unfortunate. He got hurt. So I can't hold it against him, but I'm not gonna be drinking the Kool-Aid either. So I'm gonna let him prove it. You know, if he's a waiver wire steal, he's so be it. I got Dawson Knox at that last year, and he had a pretty good season for me. So with that being said, I have him right now at number 21, only because he's pretty much unproven. He's not a big name. So again, and Conklin did the job last season, and Justin brought up Robert Tonyan. Well, I hope not, because Robert Tonyan had 3 touchdowns in a game you never heard from again. I got burned on that one last year. So again, he also had what?
He also got season injured. He had a season-ending injury. That's why he didn't have production.
In any event, I have him at number 21, right behind Cole Kmet out of Chicago.
Nick, it doesn't matter how hot outside, how thirsty he is, he does not want your Kool-Aid. Believe that. Mark that down right now. Dustin, what say you, sir, about where we have our tight end at?
I think you're fair here. This is an example of my Vikingsism in fantasy. I wouldn't take him as my TE solution. I will draft him, as a flyer and see how the preseason goes. Because all of your projections last year, they were wrong, but only because of the injury. It's not that he sucked or that you were wrong. Right. It's just that the guy tore his meniscus and, not his fault. The next time you guys watch him, though, he's basically just an overly muscular wide receiver. He doesn't look like a tight end dancing around on the field, and that's pretty cool, the athleticism. So I like him a lot, and I'm excited to finally see this Irv. But the thing that gets on my nerves is that this is the 4th straight year of forecasting an Irv Smith breakout year if you're a Vikings fan, because they used third-round draft capital on him in 2019, and then Kyle Rudolph sucked the targets away for the first 2 years. And then 2020, he started to emerge. And every year we're like, is this the year that he finally breaks out? And then it doesn't happen. So I'm sick of writing about it. I'm sick of thinking about it. I just want it to happen. 2 other things on Irv. So if you look at the Vikings depth chart, they don't have a TE2. They have a guy named Johnny Munt, who came from the Rams, Ben Ellefson, Zach Davidson, and Nick Muse, a 7th-round rookie. And you guys have never heard of those dudes. So they are good. They're going to go to Irv in the passing game as the tight end, unless they do something freaky like sign Eric Ebron or bring Rudolph back. And the last point on Irv is suddenly we blinked, and this is the last year of his contract. So everything that happens this year is going to influence his pocketbook. So if he has another one of these meniscus injuries or just doesn't quite work out, he either won't play for the Vikings anymore or he'll do it at a very discounted price, which I'm sure he doesn't want to do. So this is a proverbial contract year for him. It feels like yesterday that I heard we drafted tight end with a 3rd-round pick when we already had Rudolph. So this will be a big litmus test for him to figure out if he's the real deal.
Kirk Cousins, you heard it here first. This year, it's time to swerve to Irv. All right, we're putting it down now. Listen, Dustin, happy 4th of July, my friend, and we appreciate you being here with us. We want everyone to subscribe and follow all of your great stuff. So now is the time, my friend. Let everyone know where they can find you. Hit the subscribe button and do all that great stuff.
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch of them. So at Dust Baker's been on the show on Twitter. That's where I do a lot of my interactions. I write for VikingsTerritory.com like a fiend every day, all kinds of stuff. And then I do a YouTube show on my own called Vikes Now, and that's 15 minutes a day talking about a topic of my choosing. And then for about 2 years now, I've had a podcast with Bryant McKinney called Believe in Vikings. And B-Mac, that's his nickname, He's from University of Miami, so he knows every football player who's ever graduated from there. And then he knows all the Vikings players that he played with. So we've had Adrian Peterson, Randy Moss, Jared Allen, all those guys on the show. And that's all because of Bryant McKinney's connections, not because I'm cool. But yeah, everything I do is related to the Vikings. I can hang tough with you guys if you want to talk about regular NFL stuff. I don't know if I'll win a trivia game like I did tonight, but I would have a puncher's chance at that trivia game. I appreciate you guys having me on.
No, we appreciate you being here. Yeah, you did.
Sure.
You did great. You cleaned out Justin. We got to call him we got to call him a dumbass on the 4th of July. That's even better. Now you know you party with family. Indeed. All right, guys. Again, happy 4th of July to everyone, to you and yours. Hope you enjoyed it. Spend some time on the beach, whatever you did. Hope you enjoyed time with your family. That's what it's all about. We appreciate you guys, and we are out.
We're on a mission, guys.
Right. That's because you have Mike.
We're on a mission, guys. We're on a mission, guys.
Put on your life vest, man, stop breaker. Put on your life vest, man, stop breaker. Put on your life vest, man, stop breaker.
We're on a mission, guys.
Yeah, that's what it is.